Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working in a Merc Cruiser 496. This is a ECM or PCM BE0101. These are from, I think it's like 1999 to 2002. You will see those in the 496s. This is from Brian here in Virginia. He sent this computer like a day or so, and I tell him, I will check it out as soon as it gets here. So I'm going to show you the computer connected in here. I have it, as you see now, open. The computer was pretty much dead. He had a note in here that says, Mike, it all started by not starting. Then I will tap on it on the ECM, and it will start. So it was ground, let me see, it was ground, run, ground, work. Let me see what it says in here. Start, was ground, run, work. I want to take both. So I guess they run a ground. I'm not sure exactly what it means. Probably just set up an extra ground or something. And then went to take the boat out. Pumps quit working. No fuel pump signal. And then his name in there. So when I got it in here, I noticed the first, it was like cycling and here, like firing injectors and coils, which is very common on these computers. And then I couldn't communicate. So what I'm going to show you is the folder, the picture, because I already, try, and this is the thing that I have to do with these computers, because some of them are not repairable. The damage goes down to the microprocessor, and it's nothing I can do. So I have to try and pretty much repair the computer in order to make it run and see if it's good. Right, those are 2001, 2002 computers, so 23 years old computers. When I make it run good and I know that it's good, then I replace components like injector drivers, capacitors, and diodes, and then that's how I send it back to you or the customer, right? All right, so let me move you over to his folder. I first want to show you the computer so you can see. Oh, why am I have this one in here? One second, guys. I thought I had the whole information in there. No, that's fine. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to edit the video again. All right, so this one is the computer. You can see it's a 496 Mac base, and the computer is a PCM BE0101. A thing that I want to show you, and we're gonna get close, is the connector A, because Brian, you're gonna have to check that connector on the boat. Definitely, we got water intrusion and corrosion. So it says, well, I already read the note to you, and that is where he's from, Blackstone, Virginia. All right, so let me see what else I have. Yeah, this is the picture of the connector, and you can see how bad this was. So we have a lot of corrosion in here, right? I already applied, and this is a thing that I want to share with you all. So let me move you here. This product, I use it all the time. Let me just get you to see that. Probably better on the other camera, right? Let me get you here. So this is Dioxide D5. Let me see if it's any part number. I don't think it is. Cleaner. This is really good to remove corrosion from terminals, and it's electric device safe. Don't use dielectric grease. There is a misconception on the use of dielectric grease. Dielectric grease is good to prevent corrosion as far as water intrusion, but it's really bad for conductivity. This, on the other hand, is really good, improves connectivity and removes corrosion. So you can apply this to the terminals. The silicone grease you can apply to the connector exterior edge to prevent water from entering, but not in the phase where the connector meets the computer, because otherwise you will be removing connectivity, or connectivity and conductivity, which is very important. All right, so I cleaned all the connectors really good, removed that corrosion, and then still, when I connected, I got this. The ECM is not responding, and I could see the pump coming on and then going off coming on and going off and firing the injectors by itself because I have the signals already being applied. I'm like, okay, this is a very common issue. I also, now that I was able to talk, got the file of the data. We can see, let me just bring it down. Well, in here I put all the information, and then we can see the calibration A63618-7. That is all information inside the computer. The computer has 800, and I'm going to scroll down all the way to the bottom so we can see the amount of hours. So this is the total engine run time. Oh, you're not seeing this, so yeah, very important. I'm talking to myself. Sorry, guys. I'm glad that's what I got that iPad screen in there, because otherwise I keep talking and you're not seeing what I'm talking about. So the total engine runtime is 803.67, and those are the RPMs, the different RPMs and amount of hours that these boats had been, in. We can see 215 hours on very low, pretty much in idle. So yeah, it's probably in the lake, and it doesn't, get too forced. We can see some, like 2.48 hours on 5,000 or so. But that is common, that's very normal. Nothing abnormal with that. We got overheating of 81,000 seconds, 50,000 seconds, and all these are seconds, right? Over the speed, knock sensor 1 and 2, 25,000 seconds. So you have a problem on the knock sensors, definitely, no doubt. Guardian strategy of 20,000 seconds. What is very problematic, Brian, and all they had about is battery voltage. If you have an alternator that is overcharging, it can corrupt information. Same as if you have a weak battery, and when you crank the boat, the battery goes lower, like really low. If the battery goes below 8 volts, it can start corrupting data, and it could potentially make a no start condition. Why? Because now you corrupted the first start data the computer needs to tell the injectors to run and tell everything. Now the computer is just acting up weirdly because is wrong information reading back into it. So that's very important to keep a good battery. If you have no battery, it's better to have no battery in a boat, let's say, than cranking a boat with a bad battery. Because let's say if you remove the battery, all this the information on the microprocessor and on the EEPROM flash memory is not erasable unless it's commanded to be erased. And that's what happens when you crank a boat with a very weak battery or a bad ground, right? It could be the same thing, right? If you have a bad ground, when the starter tries to start, it will draw anywhere to start, right? Because that's its function, to start the engine. So when the grounds are corroded, then anything else, all the electronics start to go down into voltage, because the starter is drawing everything they could, or they can. There is available. So yeah, in this moment is where the information can get skew or damage. Remember, all the information, even though we talk about binary zeros and ones, are IDM voltages, right? So it's a voltage high and a voltage low. So if the computer, let's say, is saying at that moment high, but the battery voltage was so weak, there is a threshold in between the clock data, right, to compare. So the manufacturer has said, let's say, if it's lower than 8 volts, we consider that, or I'm just making a number because I don't know exactly which one is the threshold, but let's say, 4 volts. If it's lower than the 4 volts, it's considered a 1, and if it's higher than 8 volts, it's considered a 0. So in between 8 and 4 is that gray area, right? So if the voltage goes into that area, the computer doesn't know if it's a 1 or it's a 0, right? You see what I mean? And that's when the information can get corrupted, right? Because it writes anything. I don't know what to do, so let me put a 0, let me put a 1, and it wasn't the correct information. And the battery voltage is really, really important in this. Good batteries, good engine grounds, and good alternators. So, and the reason I'm saying this is because if we see here, well, he has blood pressure is low for 4,300 seconds. But look at the battery range low, 6,000 seconds. That's too much. of battery range low, and then 53 seconds of battery range high. So you could either had an alternator, or maybe they were charging the battery to try to start it, and that spike went in there for like 53 seconds. I already checked all the full data. I always leave my temperatures to know which ones are mine. So anything that has 183 degrees of coolant and 93 of manifold air temperature is mine. That's my temperature right now here. So and I think I changed it now because I run it for a little bit, but that was when I was actually getting the information. So this one, the cam sensor, you can see that it has 92 or 96, 96 Fahrenheit. That's definitely not mine. It is cranking 263 RPMs. So, and those low RPMs, I can disregard a fold. Why? Because it's cranking. So the computer was expecting the engine to run. It didn't happen, and it set up a false fault. Everything else, kind of okay. This is cranking, and we have 11.87 volts, so that is okay. That is a good battery, let's say, good cranking voltage. Then we have a fuel pump circuit, battery voltage at 1209. This is not cranking, but it could have been after it didn't start. It's still 1209. I can consider that. It's a low battery voltage. It's a dead battery, let's say. But if it was after a crank, I will consider that okay. And it's hard because we only see hours. We don't see exactly, the exact time of date or anything. So these are, all freeze frame, but at least we get some help. All right, it's scrolling up. I hope that you like this content. I'm trying to analyze the data and share my knowledge to all the watching in here, and you can understand, and so is Brian, why am I thinking, or what I take in consideration to condemn a battery, a sensor, or the computer, right? That will help you in the boat and on any engine. This you can analyze into any computer that you can see freeze frame. All right, so this is mine. The voltages, temperatures are the same that I have. This one is mine. This one is mine. This one is his. It says a starboard EMCT. That's exhaust manifold circuit high. So it's that's probably the overheating that he was getting. It says engine is dead. So it died on it and died on him. So check the starboard exhaust temperature sensor because it looks like it might have a problem, and that could also short the computer, right? Because it's a 5-volt sensor. Let me see what else. Battery voltage low. Yeah, look at that here, guys. 10.25. And this is what I could grab. That's already getting into the really great area. I mean, 10.25, that is still not so bad. But if it goes lower than here, that's when you start corrupting information and damaging electronics. All right, so what is the next one? Yeah, this is mine. You can see the voltage, the temperatures. Again, I keep saying voltages. Is EST open? I don't have the EST, signal. This computer, this boat. Let me move you now here. This setup, this boat has 8 coils and 8 injectors. So that is just because I only have in this simulator 6 coils. So I don't know who designed this. It has 8 injectors, but it has only 6 coils for regular 2-wire coils, and it has only 4 for the trigger coils, the 5-volt reference, activated coils, which is weird. You got 8 cylinders, but you only gave me 4 or 6 coils. Very, very weird. But at least I can, unplug and plug. So it's not that it cannot be done, but that's why that fault code is there. All right, so I'm going to power up the computer. And this is the fuel pump relay. So when I'm pointing right here, you see this low or lonely white sticker. That is the fuel pump right next to this is the other sticker in here. So I'm going to power it on. We get the fuel pump prime, and it's good. All right, let's run it. And we can see the computer running and all the injectors running. I have 8 injectors. I got the IAC. This is a substituted value for the IAC. Everything is now working properly. I also have the meter connected to the sensor ground and the battery bolt. The sensor ground and the sensor voltage. Let me put that on the screen. Where are you? Okay, so we got that, and I'm going to put the diagram. I don't think I need anything else. I can see the injectors all firing perfect. With these computers, I don't go too crazy as far as oscilloscope unless it's really, really necessary because I see something abnormal. But it's not the case in here. Let me move the meter a little bit to here so they can all be together. So right now the diagram is not connected, so let me connect to it. All right, so now you can see all the data and the battery voltage and everything running good. So the computer is now running perfectly. Fuel pump is on. I'm going to increase the speed. This is just a test for the customer right now after a repair. And this is a very common situation on these computers. I told Brian, I got all parts in stock. You're not going to be down for longer. And that's why, I got the computer, I think, yesterday. So I'm taking it out today. Now let me go up to like 4,000 RPMs. Going to change the throttle accordingly. I've given it like around 30 or so %. And I'm going to change the map. The map you're not going to see, but I will change the injection milliseconds just to make sure it does change, and it is. I go usually around 10 psi, and that's again my own numbers that I have always continued to use to try to see if I see something abnormal happening in here. If you have a specific concern, please share all that information. I am now always requesting before you send a computer to fill my repair form. If you need to add a page to keep writing all that information in there, please do. Anything that you feel that Mike, I'm sometimes running at 3,000 RPMs and I feel this hiccup. If I go up to 4,000, it goes away. If it goes down to 2,500, it goes away. Then I try to reproduce it here. Sometimes it's impossible, but I will load test it with real injectors, with real coils. Anything that I need to do, I will do. In this case, the coils are trigger coils. So it's not really a problem, but the injectors could potentially be a problem if you have a drivability concern. Like in this case, no fuel pump, tapping on the computer and coming back on, corrosion on the computer. You see what I mean? I'm just running the computer to make sure that I don't see nothing abnormal. Outside this video, I will definitely be running this computer for a long time, maybe an hour, and in different RPMs to make sure everything is fine. If you're here in the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. That really helped my small business tremendously. Every time you subscribe, YouTube promotes and suggests more and more my videos. The more subscribers I get, the better approach I can get for you to find me, and it's for free. So if you do so, thank you so much. If you have any computers, instrument cluster that you need to send to repair, you're in the best hands. I mean, there is absolutely no other company in the world that does the transparent, that's what I do. I mean, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm an expert. I know about electronics to engineer a point. I'm even thinking of buying an X-ray machine to show you guys the circuitry inside. It's a big expense, maybe soon, but not yet. But I'm trying always to show you the more advanced approach I can to make it as simple as possible for you to understand how the circuits work, how the computer works in the boat or in the car, help you along the way. Because I just not come and say, this needs to be fixed. No, I never do that. I try to reproduce your concern, unless it's like in Brian, a computer that is dead and nothing I can do, I have to fix it, right? So that is a very different situation. But when I have a problem in a computer, I try to analyze it a lot to give you just not a result repairing the computer, also an approach for you or your mechanic to correct the issue in the car, because at the end of the day, the computer was damaged by something. In this case, like I said, you saw my approach, analyzing the freeze frame data to tell Brian and show you guys what is the problems about a dead battery, a dead ground, and so on, right? So that's very important. But for the rest of the day, this computer is actually in very good shape. It's running good. I don't see any issues with it. So I think this is going to be the end of the video. Brian, I will be contacting you shortly to give you the good news that your computer is good now, right? And collect the payment to send this back to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.